Chapter 44. The Salvation of the Lord. Exodus chapter 14, verses 5 to 14. And it was told the king of Egypt that the people fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and of his servants was turned against the people, and they said, Why have we done this, that we have let Israel go from serving us? And he made ready his chariot and took his people with him. And he took 600 chosen chariots, and all the chariots of Egypt, and captains over every one of them. And the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh king of Egypt, and he pursued after the children of Israel, and the children of Israel went out with an high hand. But the Egyptians pursued after them, all the horses and chariots of Pharaoh, and his horsemen, and his army, and overtook them encamping by the sea, beside Pi-hahiroth, before Baal-zephon. And when Pharaoh drew nigh, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them, and they were sore afraid, and the children of Israel cried out unto the Lord. And they said unto Moses, Because there were no graves in Egypt, hast thou taken us away to die in the wilderness? Wherefore hast thou dealt thus with us, to carry us forth out of Egypt? Is not this the word that we did tell thee in Egypt, saying, Let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? For it had been better for us to serve the Egyptians, than that we should die in the wilderness. And Moses said unto the people, Fear ye not. Stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will show to you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them no more forever. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Exodus chapter 14, verses 5 to 14. The inclination of fallen man is to posit a God and a religion which conforms to man's reason and the natural world. Such a faith is resentful of any supernatural intrusion into the realm of time and history, because it asks no more of God than to provide the inspiration or idea while man provides the action. For God to act in history means, first, that he moves against evil men and nations. Through supernatural action, all these forces are defeated and set aside. This superficially seems to be a most desirable action, but men are not comfortable with it, because, second, God's actions in history are a contradiction to the adherents of a rational and natural religion. For God to act in history means that the decisive determiner of events is not man, but God. It means that, whether God's work is a supernatural intervention or a providential ordering of events, God is the Lord of time and history, not man. Hence, all biblical events, from creation through the resurrection, are regularly given a naturalistic interpretation. Only so can man retain his priority and keep God in his imagined place. With the Israelites gone, Pharaoh and the Egyptians began to regret their decision. The plagues took second place, if any, to their realization that they no longer had the forced labor levies of the Hebrews. We can assume, given the fact that there were 600,000 adult men in Israel, that these were the labor levies used by Egypt. Their replacement had to come from the ranks of native Egyptians. This would have greatly altered Egyptian life and weakened the place of Pharaoh. Hence it was that so many were ready to say, Why have we done this, that we have let Israel go from serving us? Verse 5. As the Egyptian forces drew within sight of Israel, we are told that the children of Israel cried out unto the Lord. Verse 10. The content of this cry is best known by their cry to Moses. They declared first, Were there not enough graves in Egypt that he brought them out into the wilderness to die? Verse 11. Second, Moses was at fault They had told him, "Let us alone that we may serve the Egyptians." Verse 12. Third, they were better off serving the Egyptians than being killed in the wilderness. Verse 12. Israel displayed a singular lack of faith. This is an important fact. They were the chosen people. Since then, the church has been the chosen group, and more than one nation has been chosen by God for very important and particular blessings. To be chosen does not imply merit, but rather grace on God's part. Unhappily for them, chosen peoples, Jews and Christians, have seen that fact as indicative of a special merit on their part. For this sin, Israel was set aside, and many Christian groups may be, for presuming that their God-given mercies and privileges constitute a hereditary virtue on their part. The arrogance of chosen peoples is evidence of a lack of grace and an impending judgment. The Israelites now had the mountains on two sides, the south and the west, the sea in the east, and the Egyptians to the north. All that God had done for them in the plagues of Egypt was quickly forgotten. Moses' words to them are magnificent. "Fear ye not, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will show to you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them no more for ever. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace." Clements has very wisely noted the facts which modern men prefer to overlook, because of, first, a blanket condemnation of all wars, and second, an unwillingness to think seriously of a strictly just war. But, in Clements's words, it was a basic feature of Israel's understanding of war that it was a sacred activity in which God participated. Primarily such holy wars were defensive, although not exclusively so, and required special regulations to ensure the proper dedication of Israel's soldiers and to ensure that all credit for the victory was accorded to God, to whom all the spoil was devoted. Israel was being pursued by Pharaoh and his charioteers, and Israel panicked. Scholars tend to see the miraculous Red Sea crossing as the miracle which causes them problems and which is difficult to believe. In a sense, however, the amazing fact here is the miracle of unbelief, if we can so speak of a lack of faith. Israel had witnessed 10 amazing and miraculous plagues on Egypt, more than enough evidence of God's grace and power. Failure to trust in such a God was clearly evidence of an amazing lack of faith and vision. Joseph Parker's comment here was excellent. Did the miracles, as here reported, actually occur? Why not? You can only be puzzled by a miracle when you are puzzled by a God. If our conception of God be faulty, then our expectations of life will also be in error. Then we will view God with humanistic eyes. Either he will withdraw from history and allow man to prevail, or he will cater to human expectations. If God is no more than an ideal or an inspiring impetus, then fallen man's will shall prevail in time and history. Logically then, might will be right, and the tyrants of history will determine its agenda and course. This has been the usual outcome of reducing God to the status of an idea. Evil men see their idea as more logical and necessary. If God is given some capacity to act in history by philosophies and theologies, it is often in order to make him the great resource for men. God is then the bailout power, the one who rescues man when man has troubles in his courses of action. Here again, man dominates history. and God acts as a paramedic ambulance service to rescue man. God, however, is governed not by man's needs, but by his sovereign purposes. His plan for us covers time and eternity, and his grace and wisdom exceed our man-bound hopes and plans. Hence we are commanded, "Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace." Verse 13 following. One point more with respect to Israel's emotional response to the approaching Egyptians. It is a mistake to assume that this was a normal reaction. Emotionalism and panic in a time of crisis are the reactions of the people who have had too much security, and slavery is one form of security. Many years ago, I recall talking with elderly Indians who could remember seeing the first white men come over the mountains into the intermountain areas. Earlier, Indian bands roamed a given territory in small numbers, about 20, but sometimes more. Children were taught by their grandparents how to live and survive. One boy of about 4 or 5 years was with a few adults when an enemy band killed and robbed his group one night. In terms of long teaching, he crawled into a hole and covered the entrance. Hours later, he came out to find all dead, save his father, who was dying, and who reminded him of his grandfather's teachings. In a cold fall, and in the mountains, the boy survived many days. He approached Indians only with the wind in his face to avoid arousing dogs, until he found one who spoke his language. He then joined that band. In a world of danger and threats, that man and his generation could not afford emotional responses. People who are overly secure because of wealth or slavery can indulge in emotionalism. Our small children can also be very emotional. It is a product of security as well as immaturity. Israel's emotional and faithless reaction had to be put to the test, broken and disciplined before entrance into the Promised Land was possible.